Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Welcome to the session. This is the first session of Django framework. In this session, you'll understand what is the importance of Django framework, why Django framework needs to be used. What do you mean by framework? First point, you have to understand what do you mean by framework. And coming to our technology, Python, Django framework is used for developing applications using Python. So we learn the importance of framework. We get started practicals. We learn how can we install Django in our personal laptop. To write Python code, we need to have an editor. I'll be introducing you one of the most comfortable and easiest editor, which is most widely used, Atom editor. So complete this Django framework. We'll be using Atom editor to write the Python code. You will understand terminology. I'll be using two important terminologies. One is Django project, one is Django application. You will understand what is Django project and what is application. We'll also get started with the first Django project. We get into practicals. We will also get started with how to create a first Django project. You also needs to create first Django project in your personal laptops. Understanding the project structure. Once we create a project, there will be some default files which will be generated. We'll understand about the project structure. We'll also run the Django server. This is our plan for today's session. So today we are starting Django framework. What is a prerequisite? What is a prerequisite for Django framework? The prerequisite is that you should be good in basics of Python. Participants, we should be good in basics of Python. I hope you are comfortable with basics of Python. If you're not comfortable, daily, along with Django frameworks, daily spend some time, at least 1 hour, making yourself comfortable with Python coding, because in Django framework, we will not learn Python. I'll not discuss anything about Python. I'll completely focus on how can we build applications using frameworks. Okay, so this is our plan for today's session. Before moving on to today's session, any questions, please raise your hand so that we can have an interaction. Okay, okay, let's get started. We are learning Django framework. So in this word Django, D is silent. We should not pronounce Django. That is not the right approach. D is silent. You have to say it as Django framework. Okay. First, let me explain you what I mean by framework. What do you mean by framework? Friends, whenever whenever a software product development company wants to build a particular product, like Facebook, like Book My Show, like IRCTC, like ICICI Bank, web applications, web applications, web applications. Whenever you want to build an applications, 1 minute, please. 1 minute, please. So I'm back. So when you want to build these kind of applications, you can build these kind of applications like Book My Show or Facebook. Is it? These are all applications. Am I right? If you want to build these kind of applications, web applications or IRCTC, any application, whichever you're using day to day, like like Ola or Uber or Zomato, any application, whichever you want, build. Okay. You need to use language and framework, my dear friends. You have to use language and framework. What is the advantage? Using framework is optional. You can build this kind of applications using Java, using language like Java or Python. But along with the programming language, when you use framework, your application development will become very, very fast. Your application development becomes very easy. It saves time with less errors, increases the modularity, which is very, very helpful from a developer point of view and the client point of view. Framework is nothing but a predefined libraries. A framework is nothing but a predefined libraries. It's a predefined libraries which helps in development of application. You need predefined libraries. These predefined libraries are called as framework along with the programming language. In our context, it is Python. So we use Python as a programming language, Django as a framework. When you use framework, you can build this kind of very big applications is much more faster approach. If you don't use framework, it is very, very difficult for developing applications because of its complexity in nature. They're not as easy. Client requirements are very, very complex. To achieve the complex requirements, to achieve the current business and requirements, very big projects, without framework is next to impossible. That is the reason every client is now wants their applications to be very robust, at the same time modularity and very easy from a development point of view. Every company wants to do the same. Product development companies also application development should be very, very easy. So they have to use framework. So my dear participants, if you want to build these kind of web applications, you have to use programming language combination with framework. In our case, we'll be using Python and we'll be using Django framework, which will help in development of these kind of applications. I hope I'm very clear, participants. I hope I'm very clear in explaining you the importance of framework. Framework is nothing but predefined libraries, helps the developers to develop the applications at much more faster way. Clear? Anyways, we'll be experiencing soon framework within few minutes. Next. Okay, so that's all about theory. Let's jump into practicals. If you want to learn this Django framework, obviously you have to install this particular Django framework on your personal laptop or desktop. You have to install Django framework on your personal laptop or desktop. How to install framework? How to install framework? How to install framework is now what I'm showing you. Let's get started. Django framework, participants, Django framework follows MBT architecture. Django framework follows MBT architecture. M stands for model, V stands for view, T stands for template. Maybe previous technologies you have heard about MVC, model view controller, but it is MBT here, model view template. So Django framework follows model view template architecture. Model component is different, view component is different, template component is different. What is model? Sunil, can you explain what is model? Can you explain what is view? What is this template? How these three components together help in building web applications? This is not the right time. Because once we proceed with few examples, then we'll have a complete understanding and work about how to create model, how to create view, what is template, how to create a template, how can we link the template to the view, how can we link the template to the model. All this, once we get into practicals, you will understand this model view template architecture. Clear? Clear about this? Perfect. Okay. Now let's proceed and learn how can we install. Let's proceed and learn how can we install Django framework in your in our personal laptops. Okay. Okay. If you want to install Django in your personal laptop, your Python should be already installed. Python should be already installed. I already have installed the Python. I can verify whether Python is installed already or not by going to the command prompt. I can check whether Python is installed or not by going to the command prompt and writing the command Python hyphen version to check whether Python is installed or not. Python is successfully installed. I want to check whether pip is installed or not. Pip is also a package management of Python. So I want to check whether pip is installed or not. Pip is already installed. So Python is installed, pip is installed. In case pip is not installed, run this command. This command will install pip. If the pip is already available, it will upgrade the pip. In my case, pip is already available, but in case if there is any latest version, I'll upgrade pip. Hyphen upgrade pip will help you to upgrade the pip. Requirement already satisfied. That means pip is already installed and it is already a latest version. Okay. Python is already available. Pip is also available. I want to install Django. I want to install Django. Installing Django is possible by using pip. The command is pip install Django. Very, very simple. Pip install Django is a command which helps you to install Django in your personal laptop or desktop. So go to pip install. It will take some time. Yes, successfully installed. I have successfully installed Django framework. If you want to verify, so it's very easy. Is it difficult? Is it difficult to install Django? Not at all. Is it difficult to install Django? Not at all. It is not at all difficult to install Django. Just make sure Python is available, pip is available. One single command Django will be available. If you want to verify whether Django is installed or not, if you want to verify whether Django is successfully installed or not, Python -m Django version to check which version of Django is installed. Django 5.0.1. By default, the latest version will be installed. So participants, what did I do? I have installed Django. This is the first milestone of today's session. I have made Django framework available in my personal laptop. Any questions? Simple. Please proceed and install Django in your personal laptop or desktop. Next. Next. Perfect. Good morning, Subrao.
Hey Sunil, very good morning.
Your question, please.
Yeah, Sunil, as part of this Django framework development course, are you covering developing of the APIs at the same time using of the cloud environment for the development?
Okay.
Are you covering those concepts also?
We will be not covering API development. Okay. This course is with respect to developer point of view, where we will learn all the prerequisites which are required to develop web applications using Java. not the APIs. Okay, that is
Okay.
not the part of the course. Okay, and coming to cloud, I'll also show you at the end how can we deploy our application which is developed on Django framework in cloud. Okay, I'll show you the deployment process.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, perfect. Django is installed. Next, we need an IDE, integrated development environment. To be more simple, we need a more professional editor to manage our application which we are planning to develop. You need a integrated development environment or a more professional editor where you can manage all the files which are created using Django framework. There'll be some predefined files which will be created. There will be some files which we have to create it. So create and manage all these files, we need an editor, a more professional editor. That's nothing but integrated development environment. So the popular integrated development environments used by the developers, we have Atom, we have Visual Studio Code, we have PyCharm. But coming to our course, I will be using an editor called Atom. Atom is very, very simple, easy to manage the applications as well as files which are generated using Django framework. So in our course, we will be using Atom editor. So the next thing what we have to learn is how can we install this Atom editor in our personal laptop. The next thing what we have to learn is how can we install Atom editor in our personal laptop. Okay, so go to the website atom.io. Go to the website atom.io. So from here, we need to download this editor. So just search for uh, download previous version of Automator. Okay. So please click on this and please download Autumn setup hyphen extra 64. My laptop is 64-bit. I think your laptop is also 64-bit operating system. So 64 atom setup hyphen 64.exe. This is the file which you would have to download it in your personal laptop. I'm downloading in my downloads folder. That's it, 190 MB of file. Yes, it has successfully downloaded. Atom setup x64.exe file is an atom editor. It's an exe file which you have downloaded. Obviously, once you download a exe file, you have to run the exe file, isn't it? So double click on this. The Atom editor will start its installation process. It will take some time. Let's wait for Atom editor to get installed. Yes, we are done. This is a welcome guide of Automator. This is how the Automator looks like. You can see the welcome guide. So don't worry about all this. Anyways, day to day we'll be using Automator. So this will be very, very comfortable. You can see we have welcome page, welcome tab, we have telemetry concept, we have project, we have welcome byte. So this is how the Automator looks like. Okay, so we are done installing Automator. So if you want, you can again open it by using the word Atom. You can see the application gets open. Perfect. Okay, so we have installed Django framework. The next thing what we have done, we have installed Atom Editor also. Okay, good. All the prerequisites one by one we are satisfying so that we can sail our journey with respect to learning Django framework. Okay, now I want to get started as well. Participants, I want to get started. Why to delay? Before getting practicals of using Django framework, okay, I want to explain you two important terminologies. One is Django project, the other one is Django application. I want to explain you two important terminologies. One is Django project, the other one is Django application. Look at this, very, very meaningful information. Most of you already know it, but I want to mention it. A project can have multiple applications and configuration information. Project in Django, when you're building an application, if you're targeting a particular web application, the first step what you need to do is to create a project in Django framework. Okay, so you have to create a project. Inside the project, the hierarchy is we have to create a project. Inside the project, we have to create applications. I'll show you some diagram for this to make yourself comfortable. Follow this. Please. Let's say I'm building a banking project. When I'm building a banking project will have several applications. Banking project will have multiple applications. You can see managing loan is one application. That's loan application. Customer care application, credit card application. So project can have n number of applications. Current banking can be one application. NRI banking can be one application. UPI payment modules could be one application. So there can be a number of applications. So in Django, a project, first step, what we need to do is to create a project. The step what we need to do is to create a project. And inside the project, next step what we need to do is to create application. Okay. So once you create a project, once you create application, that's how we get started developing application using Django framework. Keep in mind, you will also need configuration information. What is configuration information? We'll see anyways once we get into practicals. So remember, project is combination of applications as well as configuration information. Perfect. So let's get started. The first step, what we have to do is to create a project. The first step, what we need to do is to create a project. Okay. Second step, what we need to do is to create an application. Okay. So let's get started. I want to create a project. I want to create a project. Okay. When you want to create a project, keep in mind, my dear participants, Django admin command is used. This is the command. Django admin is the name of is a command which is used for creating a project. Yes, I want to create a project. I want to create a project. So the name of the project which I want to create is a first project. Participants, I am creating project, nothing delayed. We are jumping into practicals right from day one of Django. No theory. Yeah. You will understand theory automatically, substantially once you get into practicals. So I am creating a project. I want to create a project. The name of the project can be anything. It can be your name, it can be my name. But to be more simple, I want to create a project with the name first project. So the command to start a project is Django admin start project for the project. This is the admin is the concept of post. AWS solution architect it will come. No. No. Okay. So this is the command to start a particular project. So where I want to create a project. You can create it any location. In my laptop, I want to create all my projects in D drive under a folder called Django projects. So I go to D drive, participants. I go to D drive. In D drive, I create a new folder with the name Django projects. In D drive, I have created a folder with the name Django project. In this location, I'll be creating I'll be using I'll be creating my first project. Okay. So go to command prompt, point out to the folder which I've just now created. Right now, I am in C drive. I move to D drive. In D drive, we have created one folder called the Django projects. Yes. Here, now what I'll do, I'll be creating my first project. So I'm point out to the location where I have just now created a folder. Here I have created a folder. Right now the folder is empty. You can see here, I want to create my first Django project. Django admin start project with the project name. The name of the project is first project. Run this command. That's it. When you run this command, my dear participants, please observe the result. Observe the result. You're done. You're getting a response. Again, you're getting the prompt back. That means your project has been successfully created. That's it. What's the name of the project? First project is the project which you are just now creating. Perfect. What is the observation in the Windows? If you go to that location, a folder will be created. A folder will be created. Observation. The name of the folder is nothing but the name of the project. The name of the folder is nothing but the name of the project. First folder, first project is the name of the project. Let's create a folder. The folder gets created. See the list of to see the list of all the folders and files. There will be some files and folders which will be created. Default files and default folders. You can see there's some default files and default folders gets created. If you want to see that, we have a command called tree/f to see the tree structure of the files. So, my dear participants, this is the first project, Django project, which you have created. Again, there will be one more folder with the name, same folder, first project. There is some default files. These are configuration information. As is shown in the diagram, project will have configuration information. These will have the configuration information. Anyways, we'll use these all files in the sessions. And I have created my first project. I have created my first project. Perfect. I'm done with creating a project. Okay. Now, there are some files which are created. Can you see here? Settings.py, urls.py, asgi.py, websgi.py, init.py. So these are some default files will be created when you create a project. Let us understand on a high level what is the settings.py, what is this urls.py, what is wsgi.py. So let's spend some time in understanding some set of predefined files which got created automatically when you have created a first Django project. Yes, Abhinay.
See, actually, when I try to create the project, it is showing like Django admin is not recognized as an internal or external command. Python is installed and Django is also installed.
Have you successfully installed Django?
Yeah, installed.
You have successfully installed Django, right? Abhinaya, if possible, please restart the machine once. Okay. And then run it, you will get it. Okay.
Okay.
Now, let's spend some time understanding some set of files which are created on high level. I want to start with init.py. Remember, it's something like constructor in our Python sessions. This is a blank Python script. That means empty Python script. Because of this special file name, Django treated this particular folder as a package. Every folder is considered as a package when you have this particular file init.py. This is a default file which will be available. Because of this particular default file, this particular first project will be considered as the first project folder will be considered as a Python package. Okay. So there is no much importance for this particular file. Settings.py. In this file, we have to specify all project settings. configurations about what all the applications which are installed, the middleware configurations, the database configurations. Obviously, we'll be using some database. All these configurations information you have to mention in settings.py file. Next, URL. As you know, every web page will have a URL. Here you have to store all the URL patterns of your project. Your project may have 10 files. Every file should have a URL pattern. All the URL patterns you have to mention in urls.py. For the view, for every view, that is nothing but for every web page, you have it define a special URL. Obviously, every page should have a URL. All these URLs you have to define it in urls.py. End users will use URL patterns to access the web pages. URL is required to access web pages. All the URLs information you have to mention it in urls.py. WSGA.py stands for Web Server Gate Interface. This particular Python file is used when you want to deploy an application in an online server. Once an application is developed, you will be deploying an application to server. In such cases, this particular file is used. ASGY, asynchronous server gateway interface, to add asynchronous communication to the application. When you want application to be communicated to server, and how frequently you want the applications to be communicated to server. So that is information you have to mention it in asgi.py, manage.py. Very commonly used Python file is manage.py. The most commonly used Python script is manage.py. This particular file utility is used to interact with the Django project. If you want to start a particular server, if you want to run some test, if you want to create some migrations, all these informations you have to mention it in manage.py. Yeah, don't worry, this is a high-level explanation about the files which are created. Anyways, we'll be using these files once we get into practicals. Next, project has been created. What is the next step, participants? What is the next step? What is the next step to run the project? I have created a project, an empty project without any applications. I have not created an applications. Tomorrow, second level. Today, we have just created a project. Tomorrow, we'll be creating applications inside the project. So I want to run that particular project. Okay. So go to command prompt. We already are pointing to Django projects. You need to go to the folder first project. In this first project, you have to run the command. You have to run the command py manage .py run server. I am running the server. When you run the server, my dear participants, a URL will be generated. You can see here https 127.0.01 URL will be generated. That is the same URL I have mentioned here. So copy this particular URL and experience your application from the browser. This is the Django project. The installed work successfully. Congratulations. We have created an empty project. This is a default file because we have not created any web page. This is a default web page of Django. Clear about this? So we have created a first project. That's it. This is our agenda for today's session. What did we learn in today's session, my dear friends? What did we learn in today's session? You know the importance of framework. Frameworks are used for building web applications very fastly. In the current industry, every technology are using framework. For Python, Django framework is used. To work with project related files, we need an editor. So we have installed Atomizer. We'll be using Atomizer in our developmental training. We have understood terminology, project and application. First level is creating a project. Inside the project, we have applications. Example, banking project will have applications like the loans application, credit card application, customer care application, as well as configuration information. So today we have created a project. Tomorrow we'll be creating applications inside the project. We have created a first Django project. We have understood the structure of the first Django project. There will be some default files which will be created. Okay, you had an understanding about that. You have expressed it. Okay. And we have created a project, not only creating a project, and we have run the Django server, and we are experiencing the default empty project. Clear, participants? Any questions? Okay. So every session will be crisp and short and specific without any deviations. Okay. See you tomorrow, where we'll again continue. We'll create a project. The next level is we have not experienced application. I'll be creating a simple application. Once you create an application, there will be some default files which will be created in the application also. So we'll be learning about the application in our tomorrow session. Okay. Understand, spend some time learning more about Django, install Django in your personal laptop. See you tomorrow for continuation of learning of Django framework. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Have a good time. See you tomorrow at same time using the same link what you have joined today. Good time. Thank you very much.